The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision.
Welcome to How to Money with Cole and Cole.
I'm Cole.
And I'm Cole.
We coach people every day on their money and how to plan for the future.
As financial advisors, we're here to have an honest conversation on investing, retirement, and everything in between.
At Full Swing Financial Planning, we're here to empower you to take control of your plan, your way, for your financial future.
So let's talk money.
And sports.
Welcome back to How to Money with Cole, and one Cole today, but he's here. And my name's Baileigh, if you don't know already, but we have a big
It's
day.
a huge day. Huge day here in Fort Dodge, Iowa. We got the opener for 3rd and 4th grade flag football here at Dodger Stadium, or just outside Dodger Stadium.
Coached by yours truly, Cole Jaskey, and my husband, Lucas Ashbrook, who I've heard the defense is not ready.
Yeah, we've only done, basically only practiced offense. So, but they're just pulling flags. I mean, Luke's got to get them lined up, and he's a good coach. He'll get it done. Coach Luke's a motivator. He's a good motivator, good speaker.
Sure.
He's the head coach, I say. So he's
I think
head
it's
coach.
equal, but you guys ready? Football?
Yeah, we're ready. I think our kids are kind of like, when are we playing again? We don't have enough to scrimmage. Like how we do it, it's eight players, so we don't have enough to scrimmage and practice. The kids are like, can we scrimmage? We're like, we have 12 kids.
I'll come over and show them what's up.
Peter
was laughing.
Hopefully it's fun. The weather's supposed to be nice.
Yeah,
It's supposed to be a really nice week.
School's going on. All the activities are going on. Football season is upon us. Iowa State beat Iowa this weekend.
Yeah.
The big rival. Yeah. A lot going. It's a busy time of the year.
I love the fall.
Everyone says that. If you live in the Midwest, if you're not listening, you're not from. This is Midwest.
Until it gets really cold.
I'm all right. Like it's cold. It's all right. This is Midwest time to shine though. Like the weather's good. Football's on. Everyone's jazzed. And it's short-lived.
Yeah, I know. We got like this window where it's warm. It's gonna be it's supposed to be in the 90s this week. So
90s. Cam turns 4 on Saturday, which is crazy. But I was looking at the weather. I'm like, we're having people. It was like 90 degrees. I'm like, there's no way in September. No. Wow. Anyways, what else is going on in sports? Your Steelers?
Steelers 1-0. The Cubs are, poor Cole.
He was jacked in the beginning of the season.
They're playoff bound, but they're definitely struggling here towards the end of the season. They're limping into the finish line here.
He had some high hopes in the beginning.
Yeah, it's tough though. It's
Baseball's a long season. Caitlin Clark's out for the year.
Yeah. Well, what else we got? Markets. It's been kind of a boring month.
I like boring.
Yeah, I mean, there's always things going on and political news and different things, but it's been fairly quiet in the market end, which is generally pretty quiet this time of year.
But I do want to say this because I always wait till the end, but I want to say this. We do have a really good event upcoming, Social Security Seminar, October 9th, Thursday. That's a Thursday evening at 6 o'clock at the Crossroads Event Center. That's open to the public. You can bring a friend. But basically, if you're in that, I would say 55, 65, and you're kind of educating yourself on Social Security, when's the best time to draw it? That things are always changing. We have an expert with Allianz coming over to speak. Highly recommend checking out our website and looking at that event if it pertains to you.
It's always a good time too of just people on a common stage in life of just some camaraderie. I think we always find that people that come to our events, whether they're clients of ours or prospects or just people that want education, they always come away, they make a good connection, and it's generally a good time.
I agree. We always invite all of our clients because it's like a additional educational experience for them if you're a client, but even if you're not a client, you're welcome to this one. But yeah, I agree. It's just good vibes. It's quick. It's educational. People usually hang around, ask questions. It's a free meal. We get to talk for a moment.
Who doesn't like a free meal?
Mexican. Yum. Anyways, you ready? Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right. Today's episode is kind of like a roadmap. And I think, Cole, you probably hear this a lot too, and means, where do I stand with others? Are you ahead or are you behind? Like net worth, retirement. Do I have, how
am I doing?
Yes.
Right?
And
how
we
am I
have
doing?
a lot of people, we manage some 401ks. They're always like, well, how much should I have by now? Or how much do I need for retirement? And we get this. So this is going to be a little stat heavy, but it's not to shame anyone or scare anyone. It's really just, I always believe anything ignored always amplifies a problem. So if you're ignoring where you're at and you're just hoping it's going to get better, it's not. So hopefully today's episode inspires you to maybe make small changes to get you to that next level.
And I really want to piggyback on that. We don't want to shame anyone, and there's no right or wrong answer what we're doing. We're going to give you a lot of averages and trends that we see. but everyone's situation's, specific and special to them. So
it's really about awareness, like knowing your benchmark. It gives you power to change the story, and also remembering someone that maybe looks like they're doing really good also maybe not be doing good. So that's important.
Okay, are you ahead or behind? Here's some net worth checkpoints for people, and these are just general stats, but bottom 25% in net worth. So this would be your household, or maybe I'm not sure for household or individual net worth. I'm guessing we're using a household net worth under 29,000. Well, if you're under 29,000 net worth, you'd be in the bottom 25%. That'd be what we would consider lower class, or what is classified as lower class, I guess. Upper middle class, that would be in the 209 to $715,000 range. I'm guessing that's where a lot of the U.S. falls. I'm not sure what the breakout between those two are, but then you're considered upper class, or living on the up and up if you're above 715,000.
You're balling. Just kidding.
So these are just numbers, right? And that's where some people never look at net worth, but a lot of people are fixated on it. So it's one of those. It really. Is it important? I think it's important because it's a good measuring stick for you, to see your progress of how you're tracking, year over year, month over month. I'm kind of a month over month person. I like to see.
We're a little obsessive.
I would say I go a little over the top, but it is something that I talk about quite often with clients, and it's one, and it's not there to discourage. But hopefully, it's something you can set benchmarks and goals around.
Yeah, because it's not, again, your identity. Your net worth is not your identity, but it is important to know. It's like a scorecard of your financial flexibility. Like, where am I at with my financial life and how flexible I can be? So here's some more stats from Fidelity and Federal Reserve. So this is just, and we hear this a lot, this is just retirement savings reality. So how much people have saved in retirement vehicles. So if you're under the age of 30,
and you're talking 401k,
yes,
like 401k,
IRAs,
retirement accounts specific.
I'm not talking savings, non-qualified. I'm just talking retirement accounts, 401ks. So under the age of 35, the average in the United States is $18,800.
That's crazy.
I know. 35 to 44 is 45,000. 45 to 54 is 115,000. 55 to 64 is 185,000. And 65 to 74 is 200,000. So the median shows the typical American saver. Average gets pulled away from handful of $1 million accounts. So that's just the median. And only about 2.5% of Americans have $1 million plus in retirement accounts. Are you surprised by that? 2.5?
Yeah, it seems low, but when you look at the net worth statistics in the US, so you're like, okay, there's, a small majority have, the larger balances. And it's unfortunate, but this is where, and Peter mentioned this off air, the time value of money is so important. And we did a 401k enrollment recently, or what we would call a re-enrollment, where we went and did an education meeting at an employer. And that was one of the pieces I wish I had it to show up.
We'll link it.
Yeah. It was a piece that JP Morgan puts out, and it has a couple different savers on there in a line chart, in a line graph, I guess. And it shows, same kind of parameters, but one starting early, one starting late, one getting a all cash return, right? So it was like, why do you invest? Why do you invest early? And it was showing, and really, it doesn't need to be complex. You just need to start somewhere, even if it's starting small. And it's the most important thing is to start early.
And I think the misconception is the most successful savers are the people that make the most money. I don't think that's true. I just think it's the people that save the most consistently. And we've talked about this automated budget. You don't have to make $500,000 a year to save, $1 million over in your account. That's very, I think, lack of education.
I have a situation. I think this is, I always tell clients, if they're clients that never had, super high incomes, and I have multiple that never made over six figures or over 100,000, maybe as a household, they made 150,000. So 75,000. That was kind of their average. I have multiple millions of dollars of accounts, and they were all,
and there was no inheritance.
There was no inheritance. So it's one of those things is that they were disciplined and consistent savers, and did it for a very long period of time. Not super long, but
yeah, that's what we were kind of talking about off air too, is like, I think the misconception of I have to save for 50 years to get this much, and getting to 100,000 is like the hardest part, is what people were saying in these type of accounts. But Again, a lot can change in 10 years. Don't try to think it's all going to change in 1 year, though. But if you start now and do small changes to get you to that next class, it is shocking how far your net worth can change.
Delayed gratification.
You going to do the marshmallow? You can explain
should I talk about that? So when I loved the concept of delayed gratification. We try to use it in our household with our kids a lot. And that's... and there's a lot of statistics out there that's people that can have the discipline.
It was a Harvard study, right?
It was a Stanford study, but I'll get into it. Yeah, quit misquoting me, Baileigh. But there's a lot of statistics out there, not just from this study, that shows the correlation between the ability to have self-control, delayed gratification, or do something maybe is not that fun now and get the benefits later. And she's referring to a study that's called the Marshmallow study. It's been done many, many times over. It's actually, I think it started by a professor at Stanford. I don't know the exact names and things there, but it was referred to as the Marshmallow study. And it's the old fashioned, we've seen the TikTok videos where it's like, hey, kid A, you can have one cookie right now, or if you wait 5 minutes, you can have two, right? It's that concept. So this study, they did it with marshmallows, not cookies. And what they did, and they, again, have followed multiple years. They took 4-year-olds and did this and did it. And then they basically benchmarked them and studied them all through college. Like they did the tests, and they've done it many, many times over. And they've found consistent correlations with a couple things. One, just better financial success as it's gotten on later, but also academic success. They were they did study specifically with SAT scores.
Yep, they did better.
And it was like significantly different, higher for the delayed gratification group. And then the other thing was also healthier. They were all like the averages significantly healthier from a body BMI, a body mass index. And it was like noticeably. So that's a concept. And it's the same thing when we're referring to retirement accounts.
I was just going to say, it ties in beautifully to retirement and net worth.
What you do now, the benefits get multiplied for later, right? And that's do
you eat that marshmallow? Do you spend now? You get the money, you spend it? Or do you wait, put it away, and spend it later?
So if you want a parenting hack, I think this relates to everyone, but I think that's one thing if you can teach your kids. We did this with Canton recently. I said, hey, I'll give you $1 right now. Or if you wait till tomorrow, I'll give you $2. Right? And that's an easy concept. And they start to understand that power of like, hey, waiting, and I can get a better benefit later.
It's not about the marshmallow or having the candy. It's about short-term, can I have it right now, or long-term gain. That's great. I love that. Okay, so thanks for sharing. Let's get into, so now we're going to go through each class and kind of talk about it, give you perspective, and maybe things you can do to,
hopefully change, hopefully progress either to the next. And if you're, the highest of the high, then go away. Don't listen to us. No, I'm just kidding.
Come to Full Swing Financial Planning. We will help you. So lower, middle, upper, let's go through them. So lower, financially fragile is what we'd call this, the lower class, under the 29,000.
It's a nice way to put it.
Yeah. And it's not, again, this is not shame territory. It's just clarity. I think, again, knowing where you're at is the most important thing. So step one is stability. I do think this, like when you're in this phase, I was reading it, like you're more likely to buy a lottery ticket. You're more like, cause you're in this, like
you're reaching,
not desperation, but you need something, and this is not where we're going to go. Hope we turn our life around with crypto. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they have that perception. Like I just got to win big once.
It's unfortunate, but I do see there will be a correlation. Like I can see this where I've met with people and I'm like, they don't have the investable assets, but they want to save better, but yet they have they have $900 on some account that they trade, cryptocurrency, yes. Right? And they're not even investing their 401k.
Yeah. They don't believe
they want to hit the home run or that's the delayed gratification. There's no like, unless you hit the lottery, right? Yeah. Unless you hit the lottery, there's not many get rich quick schemes out there. It's a consistency game.
If there were, I always say this: if it was that easy,
we wouldn't be here.
We'd all do it, right? Everyone would have
Peter wouldn't be producing the podcast.
Yes.
Right?
So let's on this. If you're in this, Peter's like, yeah. If you're in this, focus on a 1,000 emergency. That's like your number one thing. You need $1,000 emergency fund. And this is just going to give you stability and feel like you're a little more in control.
Can we link another chart? I have the priority savings.
Peter look.
The priority savings chart that I also shared at the same thing that I cherry picked from JP Morgan again. But it's awesome because it's basically ranks the priorities of where, and it fits right with our planning, our individual planning guidance. And first and foremost, your emergency savings should be number one, and then it goes up, kind of up the list.
What the steps are.
Yep. Like once you hit that one, you check that one off. Then it's this one. Then it's this one. Then it's this one. Then it's this one. And I think that's when you're in this, financially fragile stage or below that $30,000 net worth. That's really the focus is you need to knock off those first two boxes. That emergency savings. Let's start getting to where, hey, we're getting our employer match at our 401k. Maybe those are the first two things we knock out.
And I think too, at this level, like the win is just getting in control of your spending. Like I think people who are in maybe this category, it's not that they can't get to the next one. They just don't have control of the spending, the budget. They're kind of, when you're always playing catch up, you know what I mean? When you're always like, oh, I got to get there. I got to get this done, or I got to spend this, or, you know what I mean? I got to pay this bill. We want you to feel stable to get to the next level in this one. So go ahead.
It's just, as I was listening to you say that, it's just, everything's so easy. It's so easy to spend money now.
Yes.
So you got to have discipline in this arena. If this is really important to you to increase your net worth, increase your savings, whatever it might be better, more financially literate, you got to have self-discipline, because it's so easy for Apple Pay to click the button and I have $300 worth of shoes at my house that I bought earlier this week. So I'm speaking to myself here.
I would say this too with social media, and I think I've said this over and again, do not look at other people's lives and get discouraged. Like if you are in this category, you are empowered to get out of this category, and it does start with a budget and just small little wins. Like don't feel overwhelmed because you're not doing it all at once. Like get your emergency fund, get the high debt, because you're not able to keep up with the future earnings anyway. If you have like debt, credit card debt, 17%, like it doesn't make sense. But
I think it'd be on the low side actually for most people.
Yeah, but you can tackle this step by step. So that would be lower financially fragile people class. So if you're in that, there's hope, I promise. So low middle, we're in the lower to middle class, 29,000 to 209,000, kind of a wider range, but you get where we're going with this. And I feel like at this stage, the only enemy is kind of like, oh, I've gotten through, I have an emergency, is lifestyle creep. Don't you agree? Like this is where...
And most people, they probably own a house at this stage, or they maybe have some equity in their home.
Or so some small retirement accounts.
Yeah, they might have their small retirement accounts, or they have an emergency savings. They have some money in checking or savings, and they're starting to kind of move their way up the ladder.
It's definitely momentum zone. Like this is where you could really like pivot to the next level. I feel like you got like the staple, the emergency fund, all that. But I would say a powerful thing to do in this state is automate your retirement savings. You talk a lot about this even in our 401k meetings. Like I think people get very stuck and I'm only doing 3%, 5%. Like your goal should really be 15% of your income. This is where we want you to get to that point. Like
at minimum, honestly.
Yes, at minimum, because you got to think about this. If you're going to retire and you're used to living off, let's say $150,000 a year, how many years do you need to produce that in retirement? So you need to start saving that 15% to get to where you're at now.
I find, a lot of people in this stage, they'll have goals, but they don't realize the discipline it's going to take. They're like, oh, I want to retire early.
Yes.
But yet they're only saving 3%. I'm like, well, that 3% is never going to make you enough to, if you want to replace your income, truly replace your income. Because that's really what you're trying to do to get to retirement is like, well, how do I not work, or my assets are paying for me to live and do what I want to do, pay my bills where it might be. And that's where the automation is key, but also, reviewing, rechecking, and
when you get a raise, pay yourself more. Like we always think about this. I think people get comfortable doing the same thing. Like, oh, I've always done 5% in my account. I'm like, well, why didn't you do 6 and then 7 and then 8?
The auto escalation feature in 401ks is something that I think is very, very underutilized. And I've been advocating for my clients, the 401k plans we run. And really what that is when you sign up for your 401k or you get onto your 401k platform, almost all of them have the ability to say, hey, do you want to do an automatic 1%, 2% increase every, January 15th or whatever it might be. And you can set parameters as like, hey, I'm going to start at 6. I'm going to increase 1% every January 15th, and I'm going to stop once it gets to 15%. And you can set that up. You never got to look at it again. And hey, I know I get raises generally, 2-3% raises.
Pre-disciplining.
Yes. You're just doing it. And you're like, I know I might not look at it, but I'm going to make sure that I'm not just going to spend that extra 3%. I'm going to try to at least save some of it as we go up in income. I think
that's a solid tip that people should utilize. Okay. Next, upper middle, 209K to 714K. Got some good traction in this zone if you're in this area. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, and this is probably a comfort zone. And we start to see people come to us at this level too. This is where I would say we see the majority of our clients that maybe start to work with. And we do have a lot of people, I think, I don't want to say the other two that we don't, because we have a lot of people that start from zero.
Yes.
They have no net worth. They don't have any debt.
They just want direction.
Yeah, they just need some help. And that's one of our favorite pieces, is getting someone in that just started.
It's more rewarding.
In that accumulation phase. And hopefully we can be a positive impact and have some good, attributes that we pass on to them. But we do find a lot of people in this range that we're working with on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of the danger zone. They'll relax.
Yes.
Maybe your incomes are fairly...
if I go over my budget,
I can go on vacation,
month,
I can do this. Yes.
We don't want to be comfortable. Like, we don't want to, okay, we've made it. We're here. You don't want to be like overly comfortable in this phase. Like, yes, you're upper middle, but you still, again, have to put that amount away. This is where you should be maxing out your 401k, making sure you're doing 15+%. Like, you don't have all your assets just in your house, just in one stock. You want to diversify. Like, this is where you could really make traction to get to that next level. One thing that's
maybe not a red flag, but a concern is, we always talk about diversification, but you'll find some people that maybe they bought a house really early on. They didn't save in their 401k, but they bought in a good area, something where it's like the market went through the roof. We've kind of seen that in the last decade. If you bought a house in 2010 in Des Moines Metro, it's probably doubled in value in some of the nicer areas or more.
Yeah, since COVID.
So you might have 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 of net worth in your home, but that's it. If that's all you have, it's time to start thinking, hey, I'm going to need some liquid assets at some time. So making sure, not only do you have diversification in your asset holding, but making sure the routes that you're saving are you start thinking about tax efficiency and different things there. So there's a lot of phases of diversification that you probably get into in this phase.
And I think if you're in this phase, it's so good at the end of the year to be like, okay, this is what we made. Let's say we made 300,000. How much did we actually save? How much are we actually putting away? Take that times 15%. How much should we have put away? And do we need to make these adjustments? And are we going to make more money next year? Because this, again, you have the income, you have the tools. It's just not getting comfortable and just kind of grazing by, living, doing whatever.
All right. So now we're going to go on to the upper class. So this is that 715,000 to 2.1 million. And probably above, we're going to kind of categorize the and above here. So this is, you probably have a lot of financial flexibility at this point, but you're not invincible. There's still things, you could be later in life, maybe already retired. And I would say of our folks that come in this range for net worth are probably closer to retirement. We definitely have some younger clients that are above and at this, above this and beyond. But now the priorities, the goals are maybe shifting to like, now what can derail me, right? What can derail my net worth? And that might be things such as, what do I have for my market allocation? So market crashes, maybe it's a healthcare event.
Yes.
Maybe it's, some other, family thing that can cause issues. But you're probably not as much as focused on growth. I think,
you're
a
more
lot of people,
preserving.
Yeah. And in general, right? It just kind of depends on what stage you're at. And we're trying to speak to the masses here, but you're getting a little bit more specific and customized to the things that are important to you as you've attained that net worth.
And you talk about this a lot of time. This is like, if you're in this phase, this is where you kind of get to choose more. Do I want to keep grinding for more, or am I ready to secure what I've built? Like, do I want to keep doing, you really have the ability here to be like, okay, this is my net worth now. How do I preserve it? Keep growing it. But how does this give me flexibility to live the way I want? Time, money, work optional. Like, do I want to work that you don't feel forced to get that paycheck, make it work for you. Have the flexibility of, I don't like this job, I might go do a different job. You know what I mean? You just have that freedom.
In general, like if you were to just speak into the masses, like what is one thing, I'm putting you on the spot here. Yeah. One thing that you would say, hey, this could lead to, you having a $2 million net worth. What's one thing that you would say that someone should prioritize?
If they want a $2 million net worth?
Yep.
Every year looking at what you made and seeing how much you put away. I'm serious. Like if you can, I truly believe if you're doing the steps, right? If you're living in your means, right? And I think the number one average millionaire is an engineer. And I think number 3 is a teacher. And teachers are how underpaid.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're consistent savers or disciplined.
Yes. And yes, they have, I'm just saying there's something about just the way you live in your means. And I'm not saying that do not compare to Joe next door, because you really don't know what Joe has in retirement.
The comparison game's tough.
Yeah. And I think especially it's easier said than done. Like, oh, they're going on vacation, they have a car. I'm not saying some people can't afford it. I am not saying that at all. But the average, according to these statistics, most people who have flashy things do not have enough in retirement savings. And that's fine. If you want, we hear people, I don't care if I work till 75. I personally believe if you want, to me, when I hear how do you get to $2 million, it's like, how much do I need to put away of what I'm making consistently to get there? And there's so many tools. We have tools to show you, but you don't have to make $1 million to earn it, to get to $2 million.
Having $2 million is awesome, but it's not what's really important when you're speaking to the retirement, world or hey, getting to that end game. And that's most of the time what we're trying to do is get someone from zero net worth to 2 million, 5 million, 1 million, 500,000 is to solve for their needs, right? Solve for their income. So if they're a teacher that has IPERS and and you're going to have Social Security and this and this and this, you might not need that much, but you also know, everyone's different on what they're trying to accomplish.
I got a good question for you, because I feel like you do have quite a few sophisticated clients, like upper class clients.
I got them fooled.
Yeah, they don't know why they're working with you. And I'm just kidding. But if you didn't know them, would you think they are upper class? The majority. Would you be like, wow, I would have guessed they were upper class? Or do you feel like they live differently?
I'll give you some. I can think of a handful. I'm gonna give you some common traits, and not just like financial traits. And I can tell you, this is my favorite part about what I do, is I get to listen to everyone's story. And I always tell clients that I'm like, this is what's great for me is I get to listen to the good, bad, the ugly. And then I get, well, man, I don't want to make that mistake. I'm not going to do that. Right. Or
learning from,
hey, that's really, really sharp. How can I mimic that or duplicate that? Thank you for sharing that. Right. You do that every day, but I'll say first and foremost, they're all pretty disciplined personally. Right. They're generally pretty healthy. They don't, they're not like super lavish vacations, different. And they travel, they all travel, they all do things, they give money, they're generous. But generally have pretty disciplined personal lives. So they're fairly healthy. They watch what they eat, or they're kind of paying attention.
Generous.
What else is, I would say generosity.
Yes,
they are very generous, and not just with money, but a lot of times their
Kindness.
time. They're kind, but with their time. They all volunteer with something. They're generally involved in something that, they really have no benefit, right? They're benefiting others. What else did I say? I would say this, believe it or not, they and I think this is really important for me personally. They have really good relationships with their spouses.
Oh, that's good.
I can think of three. I'm just like I cherry picked three. My top three. I'd say
three, know who you are.
Yeah, top three that I could think of right now, or for household probably value. They have very, very, very. From what I can see now, you never know behind the scenes with someone, but they treat each other with a lot of respect. You can see that. And those are things that I've noticed, and I've worked with all three of them for multiple years, that I've gotten to know them personally.
I would also say they don't brag, right? Like you don't, would you agree? Like,
you wouldn't.
I would say the people that come into our office that are in this upper class, right? And I'm thinking of everyone's clients. They just don't come in like they own the place and they want high, you know what I mean? They are. You
wouldn't pick any of these people out of a lineup and say they have X amount of dollars, or they're very, very, very wealthy.
Must be a Midwest thing.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Midwest nice. That everyone says that Midwest nice.
Yep.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.
Let's do a little dollars and cents.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Well, I don't have anything, anything too great today, but the power.
Start over. We're positive. What were you saying? You have something great to share with us today?
Yeah, the Powerball went out.
You didn't win last night?
No, it was September 6th. So it was a couple nights ago.
Much I know.
So
and there was a winner.
Two winners. Second highest of all time, $1.78 billion. Second of all time. 2.04 billion was in 2022. I think it was someone single person won it in California.
It's not going to get you far in California.
Yeah, Missouri and one person from Missouri, one person from Texas.
This year won.
On September 6th. Texas has no state income tax. Their lottery winnings not taxable at the state level. So that person's going to net out quite a bit more than the person in Missouri.
It matters where you live.
What I thought we would do for dollars and cents is talk about what would you do if you won the lottery? Let's do a fun thing, something fun, maybe off the wall. And then, hey, how would you actually, you came into money, let's say it was inherit. Like, how are you going to think about that?
What you actually going to do.
Yeah, your action steps.
Okay. Number one, I'm not going to blow it. No, I'm just kidding. The fun thing I'm going to do, or the thing I'd want to do that just does not make me any money, I'm going to go buy a huge acreage and go to all the dog shelters, adopt them all, and hire about 20 people to let them run all over this acreage and be free and happy and taken care of them. They're all going to have nice beds, and I'm going to come in
be a very bougie dog place.
But like I think of all the dogs that need adopted, all these dogs in these cages. No, they're going to have a nice home together.
It's like a retirement.
And then I'm just going to pay people
for abandoned dogs.
I'm going to pay dog lovers. That's their job. Think about how much they love their dog.
I thought you would say buy the Indiana Fever or something.
I
don't know. I have no idea how much a WNBA team costs.
Well,
right
I'm
now.
just saying with
Peter
Clark,
could probably, AI it. But
that would also, if I did win that much, number one, I do that too. That's all I would do. Me and my sister have talked about this, which I don't play, so I won't win. I got to play to win. It's never going to happen.
I didn't play this time either.
Me and my sister were like, if we actually won the lottery, that's all we would do is travel to sporting events. I would be at NBA games, WNBA games, and if we talk about how cool that would be, March Madness, I'd be there the whole time. That's all I do.
I don't like sporting events that much, so I wouldn't do that. But I would go to a lot. I would sit courtside. There we go. We're getting it.
370 million, give or take.
God, that's more than what I. That's more than what I
you
thought.
Are underestimating. I knew you were. Okay, so what would you do? Fun.
Well, actually, so the dollar amount. So I'm glad he said that because if you split this lottery in two, I kind of did the math of split it in two. And roughly 45% after federal taxes, different taxation. It was about, call it $360 million is what you're netting. That doesn't, you can finance the purchase of the Fever, but you're not buying it outright.
No. See, what would you do?
So what would I do? Fun? So I did the math off air because I was thinking about this. I already know if I ever came into a significant portion of money, obviously, I want to have some liquidity to be able to do fun stuff, right? Because you got to still be able to live. It's just like a retirement.
Buying the Fever.
It's like you don't save for retirement just to be a hermit and not do anything and just spend your $3,000. You still got to live and enjoy life. Yep. But I would take half. So let's say $165, $170 million.
And Cole's doing this drum roll.
Yeah, and I would buy Iowa farmland. I'd buy tillable, high quality acres.
This is supposed to be fun.
Yeah, I'd be boring, but I did the math. You're
supposed to give a fun answer.
That math could. This is my one side. I'll give you the jokey side that I probably would do too, but it wouldn't take this much money. But I did the math. You could buy about 11,000 acres, and that kick off about $3.5 million a year in cash rent income if it was good ground. By golly, if I spend all the other half of that money and I go broke over there, at least I have the farmland that's paying me.
But you have statistics on how many people actually go broke that when.
Well, we did, but Peter and I were trying to reconcile the stats online, the Googler, the ChatGPT,
the internets.
Nothing was giving us a consistent answer, so we weren't comfortable. It's a lot.
A lot of people go broke after winning the lottery.
My fun thing would be I played college football at Upper Iowa University.
He's a Peacock captain.
Fayette, Iowa.
There's a McDonald's there.
I said I'd be the Jerry Jones of Upper Iowa football program. So I would just
love you.
I'd punch a bunch. I'd have my own office up there.
You'd be on the staff.
The highest paid D2 Division II football staff. They have an indoor facility.
Cole's determined to run NFL players through there.
They'd have a private plane. We'd have a huge NIL bucket. So that's what we would do.
In all seriousness, if I did, and you're a diehard Peacock, if anyone was wondering, you can.
That's the fun thing. Yeah.
But I would suggest a team that you trust. I would absolutely have a solid lawyer, solid financial advisor, a solid financial therapist, because I think that's probably statistically the reason either people go broke. And I think about people will come out like just the stress of like, you know, an identity shift and people using you for money, all that. I mean, you think about famous people, right? Famous people, a lot of money, they struggle a lot.
Yep.
So anyways, I would definitely...
It's the same concept as athletes when they come in, they're 20 years old and they come into $20 million contracts and they end up broke, right? It's the same exact, you know, psychological concept that you go through. People come try to, you know, take advantage of you or ask or, you know.
You don't know if they're genuinely want to be around you. Yep. So definitely, number one, I would hire a solid team that I would trust. I guess you could be on the team. Cool. Yeah. And then I would really decide, how do I keep this money generating long term? You know what I mean? Like your farmland. I'm not saying
it's the running dad joke in the office. I always tell that when the lottery gets high, everyone's like, "Oh, did you buy your lottery ticket?" You know, and I would say, "Well, if you win, you'll be my only client. I'll fire everyone else." That's what I always say.
Absolutely.
I always say it's like the running joke. You know?
Yep. You'll be my number one. I will take care of you.
Yep.
But just find ways to generate, and then also I think like, what do you really want? Giving all that. So
it's always a fun. You know, it's like, oh yeah, never.
The dreaming.
You gotta. You know, play to win, but it's kind of the concept like, well, what would you do
statistically? And Peter was using this analogy. Imagine 64 tubs filled of rice, you know, little rice.
Bathtubs,
thank you. And you have to put your hand there and pick the one gold one.
That's wild. 292 million to one, or one out of 292 million's the odds. Fit in the big jackpot or whatever. 2 people hit it. So,
and I've read a book. I'm not going to name it because I don't want to have to like get it approved. But there is psychology behind this. People, the average lottery ticket buyer is the lower class, and I think it's because everyone wants that freedom, right? That stability and like like you hear us dreaming about like, oh, that would be. But like, I want to get back in this, like, what can you actually do in your life to actually hit your realistic dreams, right? Like everyone's like, hey, I want to win the lottery. You hear people joke all the time. You see, like, yes, it would be great. I'm not taking that away, but it's like inheritance. Most people aren't going to inherit money. And if they do, it's a lot smaller than they think they're going to inherit it. So what can you do today if you're in these tiers, lower, middle, upper, and how can you pivot to really either enjoy the phase you're in or get out, or are you just content? And that's okay. We talk about this too. Some people love the middle class. Like they do go to work. They love their job. They go home to their same house.
Nothing wrong with it.
No, they don't want a bigger house. They don't want fancy vacations. They just want to go to the same golf course, hang out with the same friends, go to, you know, with their favorite restaurant Wednesday night. And sometimes
we just ask that you don't be the people that say, oh, it must be nice. You know, when someone else is retired and doing that, like, well, hey, you have control to be able to do this. You're in control of your destiny.
Life.
Yep.
Yes. So if you are in that lower one, which is easily the most discouraging, I mean, I'm just reconciling. I remember being out of college, Luke in college debt. You know what I mean? We had college debt, whatever.
It's always Luke's fault.
It's Luke's fault, but he always helps, you know. Build that. Go ahead.
Let's just give a quick little, you know, a couple, you know, nugget points here. What is something that you can do? I would say 2 things. One, if you don't have an emergency savings, let's find a way to get to $1,000.
Quick,
right?
DoorDash.
Get to
do an extra job,
and then maybe get to 2,000. Then the ultimate goal being 3 to 6 months of your monthly living expenses. That's the ultimate goal there. And then the other would just be, if you can't get to 1,000 right now, let's start a systematic investment or a systematic savings plan to that savings until you reach those goals. So maybe it's $25 a week. Maybe it's $50 a week. Yes. And it might be, hey, I'm not going to get coffee at Starbucks for 3 times. I'm only going to get it 2 times this week instead of 5 out of 5 or whatever it is.
Peace with the simpler lifestyle. You know what I mean? Coffee at home, making a PB&J. You know what I mean? Like make peace with it, because once you accept, hey, this is where I'm at, but this is where I want to be, then you can start doing those other things. When you fight that and you're like, oh, I'm so mad I'm
$7 coffees add up pretty quick.
Eating out is, and door dashing it does. It's like little things, because everything, you know, life happens.
Compounds.
Yes. So number 1, emergency fund. That is the number 1 thing. And make peace and start a plan. So if you're in that, do that. Okay. Now, if you're in the lower to middle class, which again was 29 to 209, we really want you to get to that 15%. We really want you to think, how can I save 15%? Make it a habit. Make it so normal that you don't even think that you're missing out on that 15%. You know what I mean? It is actually the best 15% you're spending.
And I would say you also can piggyback onto this stage is that the auto escalation.
Yes.
Right. Try to, if you're not at 15, right, try to get there. Let's have a plan or a strategy to get there.
Yeah. And I would say focus on stability and steady here, right? Like, yes, you could go afford the new car, but is it more important to get to that 15%? You know what I mean? Just know where you're at with like retirement savings, like future purchases, just steady, consistent savings. Like if you're going to have a big purchase, save for it. Like this is where you just want to be steady Eddie is what I like to say.
All right, now we're going to go on to the upper middle class. So this is 209 to 715,000 in net worth. And this is, we talked about diversification. That's where, you know, I think the tip strategy here for most people, again, in general terms, will be, let's start thinking about where our net worth is diversified at. Is it all in our house? Is it all in our 401k?
Is it all in pre-tax?
Yeah. Is it all in Roth? Or, hopefully it's all in Roth, right?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah, 715,000 in Roth money. Baileigh you'd be Bailey's favorite client. I'm glad we brought up the savings, you know, too, because diversification is also your tax diversification, right? And that's what we were talking about there. And that's, hey, I have some non-qualified that
if you want to retire early.
Yep. Or I have my Roth mix, my pre-tax, you know, whatever it might be. But that's important to look at too. And that's where in this phase, you really those things do start to matter and compound for the long term.
And I just think in this personally, like, this is where you could really balance. Yes, we're still growing, but with enjoyment. You know what I mean? Like you're really aligning. Do I really want to work 60 hours or I'm going to try and enjoy some of my money? Because I already know what I have can get me where I need to go because I have the right diversification. And am I aligning money more with my values? Am I giving here? Like what is making me feel full in this phase? Not just chasing that high net worth.
All right, let's go to the final stage. So this is that 715,000 to $2 million net worth range. And we're, again, just speaking ranges here. But this is where, you know, I'd challenge people to start having deeper conversations, right? You're starting to think of, well, maybe I did save enough. I've got a pension. I've got this. Start thinking about, you know, what are the things that can, one, derail my goals, maybe it's retirement goal or whatever it might be, but what are some of the healthcare? You know, maybe it's your asset mix, what you have invested in. But also maybe it's like, well, what else do I want to provide for? Maybe it's not just your retirement. Maybe you want to leave a legacy. Maybe you want to make estate planning. You're leaving money for kids, or you want to be, you want to do some more charitable giving. Start having those conversations and maybe setting some of your estate planning and that's with your professionals generally, like your attorneys, your CPAs, your financial advisors, you know, and I think that's one thing that we do like to challenge, and I don't want to say challenge, but ask and have the conversation.
Critical thinking.
Yeah. Are there other things, you know, because sometimes people get to a point and you're like, I'm not going to do any, you know, you're in a good spot. Yeah. Right. We're going to check all the boxes here.
You're going to be successful no matter what, but what do we really want to do with this money?
What else is important to you? So then this is really like the fun part of our job is we get to start to like what really drives you maybe beyond that retirement goal that you want to continue to either grow that net worth for, or what's the next thing that you really want to try to check off the box.
Right. Your money's not just providing for you. Like what can my money do instead of just provide for me? Can it set up my future generation, my grandkids? Can I do a charity? Is my estate planning? It's just the phase where you can really dial in. I would say this is where you can make impact with your money. Would you agree?
I agree.
So yeah, if you're in one of these phases, I just remember this is not to discourage anyone, right? Like if you're hearing, that would be great to be in the upper class. Yes, it would, but statistically, you're not. And statistically, that's okay. These aren't labels or to shame you. I think it's definitely just an awareness. You can't know where you're going if you don't know where you're starting, right? So if you are in that lower or middle class, it's like, what can I do today? You know what I mean? And I think it's very overwhelming. Like you got debt, or you're not saving enough, or I don't even have life insurance for, I have 3 kids and I got to pay. Just what can you do today that your future self will thank you for?
We've really built on that term of work optional.
Yeah.
And that's really what we want. We want for people. Now, not everyone wants that. Right. So that's fine. And that's where that is completely okay. But I would say majority people would love to say, hey, I don't want to go to work today and I don't have to.
Yes.
Right?
Or the job I go to is the one I want to go to. And maybe I'm making 20,000 less, but I don't need that right now.
Yep. And we want people to have options. And I think the higher you can get on this list, the more options that become available to you, and you get to do more of the things you want to do versus the things you have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So whether you're bottom, middle, or upper, it's just a checkpoint. Again, it's not a label. It's
upper. I like the way you said that.
Upper, New York. It's not your future though. He's laughing. So again, if it's going into your 401k right now and auto increasing 1%, or is it calling your financial advisor and being like, hey, this is what I need to go over. Am I saving enough? let's open up the budget. What can we cut out this month to get to our emergency fund? Like, these are the little things we're talking about. And the thing is, and I'm going to go back to this, and Cole, you could probably agree with this, your upper class clients do these things. They're doing the little things. They're asking the same questions, whether they're upper, middle. Am I saving enough? What does this look like? Should I contribute more? Should I do this? They're not just like, I've made it.
My biggest client does a monthly balance sheet, very detailed. He pays for like a business accounting software that he does with his own personal assets. And he does it like balancing a checkbook. So we send reports, and if there's something like off, he's like, hey, I can't get the numbers to reconcile. There's like 17 cents off. I'm like, oh my God, I got to figure this out. He's very detailed.
It's just funny because I know you're talking about.
Never going to have to think about a dime of ever, like, no problems. But that is how meticulous, and there's a direct correlation of why he's gotten to where he is.
Yes, because it's your habit. It's who you are. It's the identity of like being disciplined, everything. You have some people like, 17. It's not the 17 cents. It's just the idea by the discipline of how things work. So again, compare less, climb more. That's what I would leave with us. Do not compare. Your life is not supposed to look like theirs. Know where you want to go and know you can get there.
From my Steelers starting quarterback, Aaron Rodgers.
I know I'm capable of greatness, and I'm expecting to reach that level.
Go Cubs.
You've been listening to How to Money with Cole and Cole, the podcast of Full Swing Financial Planning. To learn more, visit their website at www.fullswingfinancial.com and follow them on Facebook and LinkedIn.
For now, I'm Cole.
I'm Baileigh.
And I'm Cole.
And we'll see you on the greens. 4!
Security and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.